What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, Michigan State basketball returns to the court on Tuesday night against the Indiana Hoosiers, 7 o'clock, a new game time. Make sure to note that, 7 o'clock on Peacock. Now, Michigan State coming off of the nice win that looked a little sketchy at times last Thursday, 76-66, where they had to use a second half comeback to defeat Northwestern in that one. Now, Indiana is coming in off of a tough loss to Nebraska, so a common opponent lost there as well. They lost at home to Nebraska 83-77, so played them tight in that one as well. On the year, Indiana started out really good. Started out within the first month, really solid, but then lost 3 of 4 there. Started at Minnesota, and then at home against number 6 at the time, Louisville. They got a win, a big-time win against Penn State, 113 points to only 72 for Penn State, and then a loss against Kentucky as well. But then after that, at the turn of the new year, they were able to get back on track with a couple Big Ten wins against Washington, at Maryland as well, and then last time out, that close loss against Nebraska. So they come in on the year 12-4 overall, 3-2 overall in the Big Ten Conference. Now, before we do jump into this one, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Michigan State basketball content on the channel, so just make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So we'll just jump into the roster here for Indiana. They're led kind of points-wise and overall by their guard, Lamar Wilkerson. 20 points a game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, about a steal or so a game, and shoots at 42% from 3, and he shoots quite a bit of them. Him and the next guy we'll talk about, Tucker DeFries, have shot 133 threes on the season so far. Tucker DeFries, while we're talking about him, 15 points, 5 rebounds on the year, and 34% from 3 on the year. So they shoot a lot, and they make quite a bit as well, 42 and 34% for their top 2 scoring guys. Now, another guard for them, Tatum Connerway, adds about 12 points for them, about 4 rebounds, 4 assists, about a steal, a little more than a steal per game as well. Reed Bailey on the wing for them, forward for them, 10 points, about 5 rebounds as well. You go down, Nick Dorn, 7 points. Sam Alexis, 7 points as well. You go down, Trent Sicily, 7 points, 5 points for Connor Enright. Those are their main guys that get a lot of run. 146 on the year in bench points, and that's kind of middle of the pack, and that's what you kind of look at when you see with their point distribution with the guys coming off the bench for them as well. But as a team, they score it really well. 84.5 points a game, so say about 85 points a game on the year. Solid on the boards, about 37 rebounds a game, 18 assists, about 6 steals, only about 2 blocks per game on the year. Turn it over about 11 times and shoot 48% from the field. 78%, that's really solid from the free throw line, so don't want to send these guys to the free throw line. And then 36% from 3-point range. And as we said, that they were kind of led by, as we said, Wilkerson and DeFries. Shoot a pretty solid to high percentage, and they shoot a lot of them too as well. And you can see that in the team stats as well. So when you look at Indiana, some other things we look at, we said, solid with 18 assists and only turn it over about 10, 11 times a game, but they're 18th in assist to turnover ratio in the country. We mentioned the 146 in bench points per game, 225th fast break points per game on the year, 234th in fouls per game. They average about 18 fouls per game, so that's something to watch with Michigan State. Obviously, Michigan State does get to the line quite a bit here, and 260th in turnovers forced per game. Don't force a whole lot there. When you look at Indiana, they're senior led for sure. Lamar Wilkerson, should I say, 6'6" senior. Tucker DeFries, 6'7" senior there on the wing. Connerway, senior. Alexis, Enright, seniors as well. Reed Bailey is senior. Do not play a lot of underclassmen at all. Senior, junior heavy lineup overall there for Darian DeFries there in Indiana. Now, when you look at them overall, efficiency-wise, they are a really solid efficiency. Top 35 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. 13th adjusted efficiency offense. You can see that reflected in their scoring. And then 31st of adjusted efficiency defense, effective field goal percentage offensively, 22nd in the country. And then defensively, they force effective field goal percentage 9th in the country on effective field goal percentage defense. 3-point percentage, they're 62nd in the country, 14th in 2-point percentage, though. So definitely something to watch. 34th in 3-point percentage defense, and then 15th 2-point percentage defense. Assist rate at 9, 3-point rate 18th in the country overall. 164th middle of the pack there in adjusted tempo. And Bart Torvik has them as the number 18th ranked team in the country. Now, when we look at Michigan State here, new AP poll came out just on Monday. They stayed put at number 12 in the country, and Bart Torvik currently has Michigan State after last game. The last couple weeks, we've seen kind of Michigan State's offense, especially in the half court, struggle with some things, and because of that, for an adjusted efficiency offense that was at a time in the 40s, which you'd like it a little bit higher, but at the time was in the 40s in that range. It's now up to 75th adjusted efficiency offense, and then 4th adjusted efficiency defense. Effective field goal percentage still solid, a top half of middle of the pack, I guess you would say. Effective field goal percentage 112th. On defense, effective field goal percentage 15th. Turnovers still is something that Michigan State can definitely clean up here overall. When you look on the season for Michigan State, they're averaging about 13-ish turnovers a game. That can definitely get cleaned up here overall. They don't force a whole lot either. Turnover percentage at 227th and 273rd in turnovers forced per game. 3-point percentage, 77%. As we said, this year it seems like Michigan State has been solidly improved. I'm not saying that they are out there that we want them shooting 30 plus threes a game and they're going to shoot, 45%. No, they're solid. They're shooting about 36% on the year, which is 77th in the country. Solid defensively, covering that 3-point ball at 45%. 2-point defense, 2-point offense, should I say, 148 in the country. And I think a lot of that has to do with Michigan State this year has missed a lot of bunnies at the rim. Like, yes, they have the high-flying Carson Cooper lobs and whatnot, but they've missed a lot of bunnies near and around the rim, which definitely is a problem. But their 2-point percentage defense, as you'd expect, is solid, 21st in the country. 3-point rate, 267th, a second in the country, and assist rate, 257th in adjusted tempo for Michigan State. Overall, in this one, I think, a lot of what has been successful for Michigan State is obviously everything relies around, and Tom Izzo talked about it since the beginning of the year, is the main four guys, your four captains, and Jeremy Fears, Jackson Kohler, Carson Cooper, Cohen Carr. Those guys will decide what this team does every game and going forward the rest of the season, what this season turns into for Michigan State. Jeremy Fears, obviously, with the 2 fouls last game, sitting most of the first half. A tough start, but as we said, and we said it time and time again last year as well, cannot continue to have these slow starts, especially when you start. We talked about it last game that Northwestern was the last game for a little bit here that you're going to be double-digit favorites. This game, not to spoil kind of the end of the video that we do here, talking about the spread and predict scores, but it's a single-digit game. It's like a 2-possession game that you're favored in this game. And you're going up on a West Coast trip, which we're not jumping ahead to that yet, but Michigan State has struggled on West Coast trips, overall so far. They struggled last year as well. They've struggled at times going out west. I mean, they won the PK 80 a handful of years ago, like when Cassius was here. But, historically overall, the university, we've struggled going to the West Coast and playing games. So you got that trip coming up later this weekend and into the beginning of next week. But, you can't have these slow starts once we're hitting these better teams like Indiana, like this West Coast trip with Washington and Oregon. Not saying Washington and Oregon are top 10 teams in the country. I'm not saying Indiana is either. But, these are solid, good Big Ten teams that you cannot afford to get behind every single game. And especially once you hit the road, like, yeah, this Indiana game is at home, but once you hit the road, as we said, this West Coast trip as well, and then, once you get towards not just the top teams in the Big Ten, but the top teams in the country, when you look at that school down the road coming up, when you look at Illinois going into February, and Purdue, and that school down the road. You got them twice in the last month or so of the season. So this Indiana team you're going to see twice as well. You're going to have to go to Assembly Hall. So definitely the fast start is something that I'm looking for Michigan State. And then Jeremy Fears just controlling the game and a clean game. Last game he did have 0 turnovers in that one, but obviously a lot of his stuff was what was happening in the second half. And getting off to a fast start. Him and Jackson Kohler, the pick and pop game is lethal, and a lot of stuff that they're doing, like they run kind of where they have the 2 bigs, the 4 and the 5. So usually Jackson, Cooper, they run kind of a staggered screen on the wing for whoever is going to be the 2 guards. Say it's Kerr, Divine, Trey if he's out there, Jordan Scott, whatever. And they get a lot of their action out of that, and I think this is some of their best action. Why I am bringing it up in this situation, but they run a lot of that, and really, depending on whatever the call is or whatever the read is on that one, the 2 guard can come across both screens and kind of cut across the lane to the other side of the wing. Or a lot of times, what they'll do is the guard will slip between the 2 screens, and kind of exit from the situation. Then those 2 screens will act like they're going to set. Carson set in the first one. Jax is, following behind, acting like they're going to set a stagger screen for Jeremy. But then Jax will slip that underneath the Carson screen, and he'll go under all the defenders to pop up to the 3-point line. So then Jeremy can go to, say they're running this on the right side, Jeremy can go to the right side. Then you got multitude of options depending on what the defenders do, with Jax shooting, the 3 ball as well as he is and playing as well as he is. If defenders start going to Jax at the top of the key, then hey, you got a lob to Carson, who's one of the best lob catchers. Obviously, on the team with Cohen Carr, but one of the best in the country as well. You throw it up there, most of the time he's going to come down with it. So Jeremy has that option as well. He also has the kickback to Jax as well. But even if that kickback to Jax, isn't a shot, just getting up to Jax, and both Jax and Carson do a really good job. Our bigs do a really good job of, creating offense, not creating offense like they're going to be dribbling, doing moves, whatever into the next set, but, setting the offense into the next phase of whatever play. So let's say that happens. Jeremy rolls, the lob is covered for Carson, but Jeremy's able to get it out to Jax, but the shot just isn't there. He's able to DHO to, say Cohen on the side, or, if the 2 cleared to that side and, say Kerr or Trey or Jordan, Scott, whoever can get the ball, reset everything, get it to the next play. But yeah, would love to continue to see that. I mean, Jax on the year still averaging a double-double. Jeremy's still up there in assists per game this year. But I was happy last game. We said we wanted to get Carson Cooper back kind of rolling after a rough couple games, and we saw that last game. Would like to see that continue to dominate the paint, because I still think, obviously, the defend, rebound, run, that's everything that the program is about. But, attacking and, owning the paint really on both sides of the thing, winning that paint and rebound battle is key. And obviously Carson and Jax are 2 of the biggest things for that, but continuing to see, I've talked about, Cohen, for some of the offensive struggles, his, rebound overall, I thought has been solid. I'm not saying he's out there getting 10 rebounds a game, whatever, but he's been solid, 5 to 7, somewhere in there, rebounds a game. It seems like he's been averaging about 6 rebounds a game, right in there. So, continuing to do that, continuing to compete on the defensive side of the ball. But when you look at the 2 guard position as well, I've talked about it the last 2 games. I still think, especially the last 2 games, we've seen a lot from Kurtang. He's still missing quite a bit of shots, but he's still getting some to go. And I thought his, defense and rebounding has also improved as well, which obviously that's a way to get on the court for a Tom Izzo coach team and for Michigan State in general. So I thought that that's been a big improvement, so far for that 2 guard position as well. And then obviously your freshmen off the bench, Cam Ward, Jordan Scott, just bring hustle, energy, everything you need as freshmen to see the court here. And going to need that to continue in this one as well. But as we said, Bart Torvik has Indiana as the number 18 team in the country, and they have Michigan State as the number 13 team in the country. So I expect a tight one in this one. Bart Torvik has Michigan State as a 72-67 win in this one. So we'll be back afterwards to talk about this one and a recap for everything. So that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.